want a big shout out to everybody for being here at this virtual launch, which just seems like such a strange thing. And also, I think it's quite funny that because of COVID, the book was supposed to have come out in May, and my previous 2 books were out in October. And I think it's just so bizarre that this one, it was as if it meant to be out in October anyhow. And I'm always a big fan of Halloween, and I mean the title of the book, Sick Witch, I think says something today, and so I think October time is probably a good thing too. So a big thank you to everybody, and a warm welcome for this. And Ron had mentioned a few things in his introduction, but I thought I would mention that the poems have grown out of my having had this weird, inexplicable sickness back in 2004. So the poems go back a long, long way. And doctor never really found out what the problem was. She thought that it might have been something called cat scratch fever, which is something that usually little boys get. And I thought, yeah, that would just be quite right for me to be the one to get stuck with the cat scratch fever or something. And then a number of the other poems too come from my having had 2 cataract surgeries in 2017. And then also, I've always been interested in things medical, and my mom had been a medical secretary, and I remember studying her textbook with great delight back when I was a preteen. That was really kind of a fun thing. But probably the main influence on this book has been The Wizard of Oz. And this here storybook I bought last summer from the Haunted Bookstore in Sydney, British Columbia. And this is not exactly the Wizard of Oz that I tend to think of. The witch in here seems a little bit innocuous. I tend to think of the witch from the MGM movie, the one who looks like this. I can make her sort of swoop, etc. She is sort of my witch. And when I had first seen the movie, I was, I think about 5 years old, and my parents sent me to see it at the house of a neighbor who I think had color TV. That's what I remember. And I was sent home in tears well before the end of the movie because the witch just scared the pants off me. And I think my whole life I've had to try to come to terms with this sick witch, that she has somehow kind of altered my consciousness or whatever. So I thought that would be an interesting thing to start. So I'm going to start by reading one of the poems from quite early in the book. It's called Fever Dream, Sick in China. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think if you're ever sick, it always seems to be more horrifying when you're sick away from home and everything is so strange and peculiar. So this one, Fever Dream, Sick in China. After the silk factory, the pedicab lurches through polyester throngs. Diesel fumes pull my skin tight. I retch into a damp hand. Bells, horns, shriek, moan. And everywhere, one-speed bikes with bread box baskets intersect traffic. Spoke upon spoke weaves me into a dizzier puzzle. Coal-haired women with blouses buttoned to the neck, short skirts exposing garters and pull-up stockings. They cycle faster, faster. They move closer, closer. I am sicker, sicker. Every woman becomes Margaret Hamilton as Elmira Gulch, as Wicked Witch, mouthing, "Tow, tow, tow," and a language that clacks and roils. Above the horns, bells, calligrapher hands unfurl from my red slippers. Soon from blue-veined trees, hairless winged monkeys will descend, staring into my blank spaces with their penetrating almond eyes. And I think again of Margaret Hamilton. There's another picture of her. Isn't this great? Like I couldn't do my nails up enough to look like her little talons, but she's just such a delight to me. So the next poem I'm going to read is kind of a companion one to Sick in China. This is called Sick at Home, and I'm dedicating this to my sister Wanda, who is home with some nasty tonsillitis, and she keeps describing how big and grotesque her tonsils have swollen to, but I won't get into all that here. This is called Sick at Home. Sickness, always the lecherous witch, swoops in black rags. As much as I hiss at her, she sidles close, paws me. Her green face sours into a kiss. Like a good magician mother, she throws up two corners of an airy comforter. What falls is a bed of poppies. Earthy smears on my hanky. At least she's here on my own lovely soiled bed. I trace the blooming patterns of my quilt she always returns, the red fabrics soft and fraying, loose stitches easy to pick apart, today's stories like those I told myself as a girl, impress, petal by petal, stem to stem, red on red. Save the kingdom, find its enemy, vanquish it, earn the kingdom, love, sweetness, release, the journey back. If I weren't so tired. My blind fingers poke through to the other side. Dorothy, may I borrow your ruby red slippers? I'll be back where I began, thanks to you. Dorothy, you of all people will know, when sick, there's no place like home. I hear sickness hiss. There's no home, no place. I could do a witch cackle. Ah! Okay, why not? I'll do it now. That seems like a good thing. Always a witch cackle. And I'm going to read you a couple of prose poems. These are letters to an insurance adjuster. And I know that a few of us have gone through this kind of health care hell, like Becky and Susan and Kirsty and Dorinda. And it always seems to me so ironic when you're doing your best to try to get better. You're under this horrible stress of having to prove that you are ill or that you are incapable of work or whatever. Just strikes me as a horror. So I'll read you a couple of them. This one's called A Letter, October 21. Dear Insurance Adjuster, thank you for getting in touch with me via voicemail. I'm not a little alarmed to note that you sound approximately 12 years old. Far be it from me to be accused of ageism, but my disability is of some consequence. So could my case file be allocated to a grown-up? Sincerely yours, case file 717185. And I don't know if it's just a function of age, but doctors now all seem like they're just little children or something. It doesn't seem to take that much. And here's another one. Letter, October 22. Dear Insurance Adjuster, thank you for letting me know that my disability claim has been accepted until October 24th. I will do my best to fit the estimated 6 weeks of recovery time into 2 days. Sincerely yours, case file 717185. That it does seem sometimes when one's sick as if it's just sort of a number or something, and I was trying to establish that through the sequence of prose poems. And the prose poems appeared in this really lovely little anthology. It's called Body Breakdowns, Tales of Illness and Recovery, put together by Janice Harper. And it was an honor to be included in this collection, and other people had gone through way more grievous illnesses than I had. And I find this a cool cover too. You can see, I love all the kind of red and white and black, and then this dripping bag or something. Thought it was kind of a cool thing. Anyhow, I wanted to show that to you. The next one I'm going to read is called Auxiliary Employee. And I think it's kind of funny because I mentioned I'd recently retired, And when I went up to the university on my last day, July 31st, my key card wouldn't work. And it was just so frustrating. And I felt very much like it was speeding the departing guest. And I had to beg for a new colleague to allow me to come in. And I was trying to do some work. My computer account wouldn't work. My email wouldn't work. My friendly colleague left. And then I went back into the workroom. And I was locked out of the workroom, and I had no key card to let me in there. And I had to phone security, who said, well, we'll need some sort of evidence that you are who you say you are. And I thought, I've been here for 35 bloody years, and now you're saying that you can't even let me in? It was really kind of a pain in the butt. But anyhow, in this poem, I mentioned something about my key card not working. And that didn't happen at the time, but I must have been prescient or something. I was thinking about it for a little bit later. And so while I was off sick that one term, a couple of people were taking on my jobs, but I recall going back to do a little bit of work, and I felt how it was really horrible sitting outside my office door on one occasion while he was conducting office hours for my students, and I was just kind of waiting at the door. Anyhow, this one's called Auxiliary Employee. Someone else is living in my office for the duration of my absence. Squatter! I want to shout. The locks have been changed, and my key now won't work. His fingerprints everywhere. I can see them purple and patchy, even without ultraviolet light, as he talon touches books, pens, photos, kettle. More territorial than a spray of cat piss. When I check my voicemail messages and find he's sharing my mailbox, hunkered down in a reptilian curl, I shriek at the enforced intimacy, a scaly bedmate I do not want. It's almost the final straw, until I hear in the staccato computer-voiced comments to press not one, but two to reach me. And that's just a horror when that happens. Okay, this is one called The Doctor's Receptionist, and I think that's probably fairly straightforward. The Doctor's Receptionist. Every week, and I've seen her for weeks, she asks if I'm at the same address, peers through Coke bottle glasses at my file. Absentee landlord par excellence of my body. I ponder rejoinders. Sickness makes me dabble in real estate. Which of my 17 residences am I recuperating in this week? Ah, Tahiti. Then it hits me. She's a former patient, brain damaged from something my doctor did or did not do. Scalpel out of whack, misspelling on the prescription pad, side effects of side effects, a drug gone wrong. Sins of omission or commission, the same result. Guilt, and this job for the permanently scatty, who even now, as she stares at me, is taping up a sign. Help, wanted. I'm going to read you one now. It's called Fever Dream. Typhoid Mary speaks aboard the Shanghai ship. And I know when he was introducing me, Ron was talking a little bit about Trump, and I can't help but think of Trump's idiocy in being contagious and back in the Oval Office. And I think we'd kind of like to think of a Typhoid Mary as like this. This here is a lovely little, I don't know what you call her. It's Brenda Natasha gives me witches for Christmas every year. I've got quite the collection. And this is not the Margaret Hamilton witch. She's, I think, the one from Snow White, but I just love the flashing eyes and everything. I think she's quite a funny thing. And it's been fun being up here. And we're in a timeshare in Whistler. And I put my own little personalized touches around by seeding the place with witches. Something has been an interesting thing. But I guess it would be nice if Typhoid Mary looked like this, right? And you could tell who she was and could then stay the heck away from her. But we just don't know. You know, Typhoid Mary could look like anybody. And I think that's the real horror for something here. So this one, Fever Dream. Typhoid Mary speaks aboard the Shanghai ship. Where am I? It seems to be a boat. I look like you. Yes, the nausea, the pallor. Who am I? Stomach roiling, cheeks ruddy, I wipe the sweat from my face into the teeming stock pot. Hanks of cod, salt pork, a bit of rat. My hair, rice, a thin congee. I seem to be a cook, strain through plugged ears to hear the coal-haired crew, such slant-eyed, languid pirates. But the language, not my winsome Irish, instead sing-song and raucous gutturals, struggle to see the inhabitants get their sea legs to look less hangdog from nausea. I like to see people eat up. It does a poor body good. Please eat this, a big mouthful. Open wide for the cargo boat to enter. Let me spread my merrymaking. Let me touch you, mollycoddle or malincoddle or ling or lee. Mary, I am sweet like Mary. And you? Eat this, eat this. Benediction, my communicable touch of fetid fingers, prostration and headache with every bite. Typhus, typhoid fever, it comes. I am coming from shores mossy with rotten potatoes and rice. I, soon to be in a better world, your world, am straining figurehead, big as life, pointing the way to the new land. Through esophagus, festering wound, blood thump, I am hardly choosy. Let me enter your safe, pristine harbor. Give me refuge, give me succor. Please be my host. Or not, I guess. Just the thought of all of the horror of COVID around. I've been up in Whistler, and on a couple of occasions, people have asked me to take their photos, and I've taken them, and then afterwards I thought, what am I doing? You know, touching some contaminated phone or device, and it's such a strange new world, I think, that we're in now. Very, very weird thing. Anyhow, the next poem I'm going to read is one called, it's a little bit of a, might be pubic, might be public, might be a little bit of both. And Carlos, I can now see you right now. And this poem that I'm going to read is actually, it's for you. It is for Darren. Get Darren on. Bloody get Darren on. Not doing it, but he's not on. Okay. And it's for Carrie, too, and for Brian and for Bob, okay? I thought I had to rein myself in. I can't be completely inappropriate. I would like to be completely inappropriate all the time, but I thought I had to be quite good, for this nice Zoom launch. So there's a bad word in it, and I don't think I'm going to say the bad word. I'm just going to mouth it. And Carlos, maybe you can say the bad word. Darren, thank you. Good, good. And Darren can say the bad word, and I won't have to say it, okay? And so we can just kind of play around with this. And Brian and Bob, you too. You can say the bad word. So this one is called, what's it called again? Yes, okay, good. Something through here. So I don't know how to pronounce it, so public or whatever is the title. First, my doctor. Next, the ultrasound technician, rolling the gelled ball over my groin. Then, that doctor, confirming the x-ray result. After, all the patients waiting for CAT scans too, as I struggled with the gown's loose blue ties. Finally, the surgeon fearing lymphoma. How many have seen my bush now? The same surgeon, so he doesn't count. As he does the lymph node biopsy, the pieces look like the ends of my fingers, sausage meat appetizers at a low rent party, with everyone hitting on everyone and burping from the beer in the keg. He's stitching me up, and I can hardly tell the thread from the pubic hair. I'm tempted to say so, but think harassment, think inappropriate. Later, my wound looks back at me, a smile pulled tight, like an extra a few inches over. Oh, come on, Carlos, you didn't do it at all. You're so bad. Okay, Darren, good stuff. Something through there. And I do recall this. This here is a lot of the stuff is a figment of my imagination, but this year was so true. And the doctor, though, I thought, I just didn't know if I wanted to bring that up with him. Thought it might be a little bit inappropriate, which seems to be the word of the day now. I'm going to read a couple of the I poems. This one is for Anne in Halifax, who was one of the first to comment on it. And I want to mention in here author Beverly Cleary, one of my favorite books, or author of children's books. And she writes a whole series about Ramona. And I think what's wonderful about this collection of books is even though Ramona is a little girl, I think kids who are like 10 or 11 tend to really relate to her. And it's very odd, I think, in children's lit to have children wanting to read about characters who are younger than them rather than older than them. And so this one is called Intimates. Oh, also one other thing is, I think it might be a good time for you to have a drink if you don't have one already. Maybe just go and get one. I have something here. There might be an opportunity for you to do something in here. I don't know. You want to just take a break? You know, just have a little bit of a get a glass. Maybe. Come on, stretch your legs. It's been 25 minutes. Come on, just go. Okay, good. Get ready.
At some point you should do one of my favorites, Crystal. That's the smell and eye chart.
You could what?
The smell
I did hear.
eye chart.
The which one?
The smell
Oh, you like
eye chart. It's on page 45.
Page 45, okay. Oh, you want me to read that one?
It's one of my favorites, yes.
Okay, I'll read that one. Well, people are getting their, so this, and I'd even said that I had gotten this idea from a creative writing student whose name I cannot remember. I have her assignment, I know it was a woman, but who it was, I don't recall. And this one is called Snellen Eye Chart. Don't want to be seen as a vision cripple. I will save face, memorize the Snellen chart, random, plotless, but not so hard. Consider it performance art, running lines for myself, star, director, supporting cast. My eye doctor says, good. I hear her smiling. She does not adjust my prescription. I hazard my way through her door, portal back to the drama of my own making. If you can't read this, you need glasses. But of course it's not all like that. You just have it one letter at a time or whatever. Yeah, that's a cool one too. I do like that. But I'm going to go back now and read the one called Intimates, and I hope you have your glass maybe ready through this. No probing pink canals and cavities, no thin fishy leakage, but a deeper intimacy. She stares into my inner orbits, curvature of each retina, orbs, hydrostatic equilibrium, back of my brain, a planetary pull, getting close to the soul, her Eckelberg eye looms. She commands. My eyeballs move as the hands of a clock. Look to 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock. What time is it, Mr. Wolf? Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have, putting me through the day. I've been in this chair forever, soon into the seasons. Don't want to lose an hour. Will I see better if I gain one? Spring forward, fall back. I struggle to remain stationary, compliant. For today's children, analog is ancient as Sanskrit. What does she bark to them? I recall a Beverly Cleary story. Mother tells Ramona to leave home at 8:15. She knows a quarter is 25 cents, so she leaves at 8:25. Doesn't understand how she can be late for school. Runs and runs, but can't catch up. Sure don't want that kind of miscommunication when the cataract surgeon marks my eye for implant placement. 6 o'clock, he says, and marks below my iris. 6? Is that AM or PM? Time for a drink. It's cocktail hour somewhere. Okay. So I think now is the time. Yay, okay, raise the glass. Thank you, Mandy, good. It looks a coffee cup. Okay, good. Raise a glass, okay. Good, you're so good. So it's cocktail hour somewhere. Don't fuck up. Don't want my eye to be a cinematographic photograph. No camera obscura for me. How obsolete is that? No aqueous humor leaking through a pinhole like a blown out Easter egg. My vision like a Jeff Wall light box. Okay, Greer, this is for you, okay? I'll say that one again. Greer, good. So my vision like a Jeff Wall light box. Do not desire to stand on my head to see everything. My life unfolding is a photoconceptual performance piece. Is Pluto even registered as a planet anymore? Things can change in the blink of an eye. Don't blink. My eye jerks into readiness. Fuck. Spring back. Fall forward. And I had been to the eye doctor again recently, and I noticed this was a new eye doctor. Mine is retired, and it was the first time I've been in there that it wasn't, look at 1 o'clock, look at 3 o'clock, and it was sort of looking to the right or the far right. And I don't know if maybe that's disappeared, that people have thought that's a thing of the past, and looking at the analog clock face. Anyhow, I thought that was kind of funny through there. Okay, I'm going to read one now. It's called The Second Coming. It's a little bit dirty, not as inappropriate maybe as the last one, but I thought it might be rectified by having in a lot of literary references and some religious ones too. And so I've got to dedicate this to a few people, to Martha for telling me the weird story about the contact lenses. Some lady had all these contact lenses that remained stuck in one corner of her eye. It was something, some random number in the high 20s or something. And also this is for my dad because of the religious elements in it, but it's mostly for all of my dear students. And you are so unlike the dick-headed students who are mentioned in this poem, okay? Just wanted you to know, they're very, very different. So this is for Raylam, and I love what you're wearing, Raylam, it looks great. And Morgan and Helene and Rohan, Pearl, Trace, Mamet, Raquella. And Raquella, I wanted to show you, I've got here one of the little witches or something that you had given me, which I think was quite striking. I might have her say something later. And so this poem refers to a poem also called The Second Coming by one of my favorite poets called William Butler Yeats. And he wrote it in 1920, and he was looking at how miserable the world was at the end of the First World War. And he was thinking something apocalyptic was about to happen, and he was looking ahead and thinking of what might happen in the year 2000, like some sort of a second coming of Christ or whatever. And so I've pulled that into the poem a little bit. It's called The Second Coming. And the students I describe are not you guys, okay? Totally not you guys. You're all so wonderful. To avoid marking stacks of incomprehensible poetry analyses, sullied student logic like hieroglyphics, Gates's rough beast as a celebrity prophet. I joked about who would want to be Mary. I'll wash and wax floors, dry and shelve dishes, make surfaces immaculate. In my absence, the paper piles have now grown to pyramid height, so I mop myself into a corner of the bathroom. Housework to body work. I try to turn myself inside out, but it's a chore and a bore. The hand mirror a too teeny speculum, not much bigger than a Q-tip, and no chance of hitting my G-spot. But what might be wrested from an orifice with a finger? Circlets of gold? The lost scrolls of ancient somebody or other? While examining a wrinkle, I pulled down my lower left eyelid. Some woman had 27 contact lenses hidden in hers. Not urban myth. I've seen the pictures. Her deep-set eyes so much like sick witches. Fun fact, prostitutes used to ply their trade under the arches, the fornices of ancient Rome. I excavate my left fornix. Whoa! Out fall 2 turtle doves, 4 calling birds, a partridge resembling a crow, and a pear tree. Ouch! I'll scratch and burn on exiting. The bathroom is crowded. All those wretched, squawking, shitting birds in the jacuzzi. If this is the secular, where's the sacred? Will frankincense, myrrh, and a baby Jesus plummet from my right eye? That rocking cradle will have awfully pointy corners. Maybe the Immaculate Conception was through not the ear, but the eye. Suddenly, a disturbing flutter of wings. How big is that bird? Oh, geez, a ministering angel blethering on about another annunciation. I double lock the bathroom door, avert my eyes from the too yielding, expansive mirror, my face now leonine, hooded. What rough beast slouches? Close my eyes tight, tight, turn out the light, and pray. Okay, the one I want to read next is called Bindi, and this is for all of my yoga peeps. I had promised there'd be some sort of yoga poses. It's really not possible, although I thought I could show you. I'm not sure how I'm doing here. I can sort of do a tree pose maybe here. Can you see it? Nod? No? Yes? Ah, whatever.
You have to move the camera a little bit so we can see you.
Okay, thank you, Efrat. Let's see. Okay, Efrat, you tell me. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes. I want you guys to see my Zoom costume. So I'm wearing a nice dress, but I have on flip-flops. And then to make them especially stylish, I'm wearing ankle socks, the Carolyn that you had given me. So anyhow, I just thought that was something. I did attempt a tree pose. And if you guys wish, and you know, you've just been sitting too long in front of yet another bloody Zoom thing, and I feel so sorry for all of you Cap University employees who've probably been on bloody Zoom calls all day, you know. So if you want to, you can attempt a yoga posture of your choosing now, you know, do a squat, or if you want to just lean back and be read to, you can do a shavasana or something on the floor, okay? You know, that would be totally fine. Anyhow, so this here is for Artemis and Carrie and Wiley, Martina, you know, all of you. You know, so nice that you're all here. And there is a chakra in here, although it's not a yoga pose, okay? But that's the best I could do, and I'll do better next book, I promise. There'll be more yoga in it. Bindi. Before follow-up laser surgery, a stick-on yellow plastic dot on one cheek to make clear at which eye the surgeon should aim his laser ray, blasting the monsters of scar tissue. The lone dot like slippage, and out of place Bindi, a fallen colored tear, a faltering third eye, displaced chakra, not sure where to go. Oscillating aura, mysticism on the move. Around the periphery of the eye clinic, in a slow-moving meditative trance, we walk, marked, dilated, we of the pineal eyes, waiting for the surgeon god, whose hand and word are wisdom. What will spill into our two open pupils, enter our torpid brains, making our affliction into high art. And I don't know how many of you guys have been in this eye clinic that I've been to. There are maybe 4 or 5 eye doctors there, and there must be 100 patients waiting. And then I honestly think that you're there so long that you might have to get another appointment or something, or phone in order to get through. Just seems too much. The last poem I want to read is called Crow. And Ron had said at the beginning how much the first book he published by me, called After 10 Sylvia, focused on Sylvia Plath. And this one focuses a little bit more on her husband, Ted Hughes. And he's probably most well known for his book called Crow. And I really like the picture on here. It's done by one of his colleagues, Leonard Baskin. And this here looks unlike any sort of crow I've seen. It's sort of got these elephantine legs or something really kind of peculiar or something. So anyhow, this features a little bit in this poem, as does another poem by Ted Hughes called The Thoughtfox. And he comments on how inspiration for him seemed to be that of a thought fox that entered into this hole in the back of his head. And also was thinking a lot about crows. We're up in Whistler, and there's so many of them around, these big, huge, almost oppressive creatures. And when I was writing the poem, I had just had some cataract surgery, and there was all this weird blackness in the back of my eyes, and it looked almost like the way you draw birds when you're a kid. So Ephrat, maybe the girls do this, and these are little birds, you know, they look kind of like little M birds or something through here. So this one's called Crow. Black dots spotting, pebbles dislodged from the pavement, running the other way. Hands in front of my face to protect from corvid incursion. I know they know me, recognize me, have done one of their members ill. Something with a hose, I think. A harsh onslaught of water, the fierce stream hissing like bullets from a gun. And this is the repayment. As I return home from laser eye surgery, Corvus cunning, they can master tools. I wonder what I've left out in the backyard. Not the hoe, oh, not the shovel. I think of Ted Hughes's crow poems. Is this Crow Tyrannosaurus? Primeval, it wants to become more and bigger, help lurking into recognition. Is this a disaster? The spreading, oozing lamprey body, vindictiveness, cleverness, streaking through the retina, a close-up of all black. Black as purity, black as death. What omen? Crow, perhaps raven, a large wing, a midnight winging of crows, sheeting down. Crow, trickster god, not a murder, but an egg, a plague of crows. Or sweet cease, a restful, primed gesso black canvas, ready, so ready, awaiting the light. Not just the crow poems after all, a conjurer's trick behind the ear, coming from the back of my brain, opposite movement of the thought fox, violently, malevolently, the I becomes its own hot, dark, panting muse. And I think I might end there.